Good morning. It's the first day of summer, June 21st. And trying to, don't know how successful I'll be, but trying to go back to my usual walking around the lake on Fridays. So we'll do that today. It did rain again last night, and apparently there's a good chance of rain this afternoon. But for the moment, it's sunny. Beautiful yesterday. Excuse me. Wearing my sunglasses, so it may be hard to see the screen if you say anything, but hard to read the screen without my sunglasses because of the brightness as well. Still lots of lilacs and things in bloom. Probably explains why I took a Claritin last night. There's a lot of poplar fuzz floating around too. I don't know if that's an allergen or not. Probably is. Spent all day yesterday making ads for Shadowpaw Press. Theoretically on Fridays I work on my own stuff, but I've actually got so much to do. I think I'll try to do something of my own today, but writing, but I got other stuff, editing and various things that deadlines are coming. Sure, we'll see lots of people around the lake on a Friday, on a nice day. I much prefer to have it to myself, but it doesn't really happen. Except when I did it almost minus 40 one morning, I had it to myself. I was also halfway around when I thought, this is not very smart, because if I slipped on the ice or fell or something, I'd freeze to death before anybody found me. And it's the dark. It was dark. So I've been a little less religious about that when it's really cold. Don't mind walking when it's cold, but walking very isolated around the lake in the dark in the morning when it was really cold, it was fine. Also, I don't think the current phone would last. It doesn't seem to have very good battery life, this new one. I thought a new one would have better battery life than the old one, but it really doesn't seem to. Of course, we still can't go under the bridge, a little underpass up here. It's all still closed off because of the sinkhole that opened up last year. Clearing my throat. It's probably a sign there's still stuff in the air affecting me. People's gardens and yards are starting to look very nice. We'll see what the garden in front of the ledge looks like. I imagine all the plants are in. I know when we walked by the Royal Saskatchewan Museum last week, there were no plants in some of the beds, and when I drove by yesterday there were, so all that is happening right now. Always like to point out that's where Wally Knight lives in my Shards of Excalibur series, right down there. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe they're working on the sinkhole. Find out in a minute once we get around, get across the street. Dumping dirt. Maybe they're doing some landscaping there. Oh, she's already pressed the button, so that should help us. I think I'll walk clockwise today around the lake. It's the city flag flying on the bridge. Didn't actually change, but we'll take our chances here. Yeah, I've noticed that before. A little layer of mud can be slipperier than ice. I almost slipped right there without it even looking like there's anything to slip on. Well, it doesn't look like they've done anything here. It's still just a concrete lined hole with pumps in it. I'm sure they've got some sort of plan to mediate that, but no sign of it yet. And here's the lake, all bright and sparkly with the wind blowing the water. Quite ruffled. Did you say the building? Oh, there's the aeration fountain. I was going to say it's not blowing, but it is. There's somebody in a canoe out there, too. Two people, someone's in a canoe. I think it's a canoe. Sometimes this aeration fountain goes higher than that. I don't know how they decide. Sometimes it goes so high in the wind that it blows onto the walkway here. Actually, it's a rubber dinghy, not a canoe, with a motor, so I don't know what they're doing. Quite tell. Are they in wetsuits? Is it some sort of diving exercise for the police or something? It's too hard to see in the sun. Yeah, often that's about 3 times that height, so it's kind of underpowered at the moment. No, I don't think they're in wetsuits. As I get over on this side, I don't know what they're doing. Call it an aeration fountain because that's what it's for, is to keep oxygen in the water for the fishes. Also to cut down on the algae growth. First dog. And stand. Pool is up there that I pointed out a few times. Relatively new, just opened last year. There was an old pool there before, but the new one opened last year, and it's open again now for this summer. Off in the distance, you can see the other aeration fountain, which we'll be walking by shortly. Oh, they're moving now, so I don't know why. This is for rowing events, this little platform here. It could be police. Actually, I think they are. Police or park employees, hard to be sure. They'll be going by me in a minute. I'm probably heading to the Willow Island landing up here. That's Willow Island there. Of course, as I always mention, if you read my Shards of Excalibur series, Excalibur is in the water, just this side of Willow Island, down at the bottom of the lake. If you want to go diving and looking for it, might have a hard time explaining why, but and of course you couldn't find it because magic, but it's there, I promise. At least in my book world it is. I had no idea they were there. Bell would have been nice. Still don't know what they're doing though. Maybe I'll take, oh, it's going to be muddy. No, I'll stick to the path. We've had a lot of rain, as I noted when I walked around Douglas Park yesterday. Was that yesterday or was it the day before? My feet got soaked. It was yesterday. So I'll stick to the paved parts today. There's a few people watching live. Hopefully I get a good signal all the way around. Sometimes it gets a little iffy, I think, because of the leaves. Everything is so green. A jogger coming up behind me. Another item for the bingo card I keep threatening to make. I've never done. I know how to do it. I know how it would work. And the prizes would be ebooks. But I should try. Pick a video, create a bingo card for it, and see what happens. It would have things like joggers and dogs and baby carriages and stuff. Is that the usual old guys that walk around? Maybe I'll take the maybe I will risk the shortcut here, just to avoid walking right by them. It does have wood chips on it, so not really nutty. And probably a bit more interesting to look at. Yeah, the bingo card idea is that you'd have things that you put in the card, like dog walker, carriage, and then people would have to email me with the time stamp of when they saw these various things. Bingo. And you would get a you would get a ebook as a prize. So I know I could do it. There's Willow Island over there. That, of course, is where Shards of Excalibur starts, when the Lady of the Lake shows up right there. Starts my two kid characters on a quest to find the scattered shards of Excalibur before Merlin can. Oh, look, and there's my unstable internet connection. I may want to upload the recording of this one if it's going to have a lot of buffering in it. Willow Island, if you want to book it, you can call that number. Still says unstable, so I'm probably buffering. I apologize for that. There must be an app that'll generate random bingo cards. Ooh. Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to have to upload the recording here. That looked like a pretty bad chunk of buffering right there. I used to do that all the time. I don't always do it now. It's a question of if I upload it, I make that the one that shows up in the Walking in Regina. Playlist. but the live version is still there, and people do still watch it too. So since everything's monetized, the more stuff you have, the more potential eyeballs you get, the more money you make. I'm making like, $15 a month. Yeah, I know. Don't quit your day job. There's Willow Island now. Again, from this side. I worked up a sweat today. It's humid, even though it's not all that hot yet. 17 or something like that, I think. Another jogger coming. I used to jog, but my knees wouldn't take it, so I went back to walking. I was pleased I was able to jog. This was probably 3 years ago now. 4 years ago. I don't know if I could do it now, but I could do it. But then my knees would get stiff and sore, and I wouldn't be able to do anything for a few days, so that was counterproductive. Better to walk almost every day than jog once every 2 weeks. Geese. There's always geese. There's the bridge way over there where we were just a few minutes ago, and where we will be again. I don't know if I just stepped in mud or goose poop. Probably the latter, unfortunately. I didn't see it. Oh, there's somebody saying hello. Gregorio, hi from Brazil. Or hi in Brazil. Hi from Canada to Brazil. I think maybe today, this will be different. I'll go to the lookout and down instead of going down the path here. Then go down the stairs and go by the fountain down there and then carry on. Usually I go down this way, but next time. Today we'll do this. Here by Wascana Center over here is kind of the administration. Wascana Place, it's called. Kind of administration. Oh, you can see the poplar fluff I was talking about. I wondered if it was contributing to my congestion last night before I took the Claritin, which seemed to make a difference. So that's why I'm pretty sure it was allergies. Wascana Center, or Wascana Place there, has the offices for the park and a few other things. Meeting space, art gallery. Very nice. Trafalgar Overlook. It's called that because directly across from it is Trafalgar Fountain, which is in fact a fountain that once stood in Trafalgar Square in London, where I'll be in a few weeks. The first time in, 40 years? Yeah, 45 years since I was in England. Amazing how the country managed to keep going without me visiting on a regular basis. Doesn't look like the fountain's running. Hard to tell from here, but I don't think it is. So that's the east end of the Legislative Building. We get a nice view here. We'll be going, often I cross that bridge, but not today, I don't think. You can see the buoys for rowing competition. And you can see in the distance what's probably going to be showers this afternoon. Because those are thunderheads. You can tell by the anvil shape on top. And then downtown. We'll take the stairs down here, and here's the other aeration fountain and its own little lagoon. There's a football game this Sunday, so we'll be at Mosaic Stadium. I've never tried to live stream from there. Not sure that well, I wouldn't want to take this. I have to explain it when I went in. So. There's bridge and ledge, very scenic. And there's the little overlook we were just up on back there. And on we go. The old guys are catching up with me, so I gotta get a move on. I'm sure some of them are no older than I am, but I always think of them as the old guys. They walk in a group. They have been, I'm sure the members have changed, but the group itself has carried on for years. But I've been doing this. I run into them. Anytime I do a walk on Friday mornings, I'm likely to run into them. I don't know if they're there every day of the week or if it's just on Fridays. Next up is the boathouse. A house for boats. And the marina. The tower over there is Roberts Plaza. And somebody's sweeping the docks there. Looks like this is open now. Go around this way to take a look at it. Cleaning the docks. I don't know why. Just on general principles, I guess. And then the boats are over here, the rowing club, and in the when school's out, you'll see a lot of kids and things. Waterfall's running over there. That's another aeration feature on Pine Island. Used to be able to walk under it, but they've had it blocked off. Last few times I've been there. The boathouse up there is Bar Willow. Nicest deck in town. Walk through the playground here. So there's no kids. Dragon boat there. There's a dragon boat festival. I think it's usually in September. Now it is possible, theoretically, to go down here, walk along the dike to the other end. So let's do that. Some canoes here. This is floating, of course. More dragon boats. You didn't have to sort of jump over the water at the end down here. The boat ramp. Lots of dragon boats. See, they have sponsors on them. The school bus up there. They're coming to row or something. No, not so bad here, as long as you're careful. Here's the boat ramp. Come around the east end of this portion of the lake. Of course, even at Douglas Park, you can see the lake. It goes on a considerable distance in that direction. flowers around the university. Kayak out. There's a cat there. That's Pine Island over there. Again, we'll go by it in a minute. I don't think I'll walk onto it today. Keep thinking about everything I have to do. I have to get back and get started. Plus, I made fresh coffee just before I left, so it would be ready for me. Over the bridge up here. This kind of connects this part of the lake to the next part of the lake. And all the lakes are formed by the dam that's down at the Albert Street Bridge where I started. Wascana Creek is not very big. I walk by it too, of course, quite often. And so this lake is entirely artificial. But it's been here a very long time, except when they emptied it to deepen it in 2003. Then it was empty down to the bottom. I remember what they did with the water. They just opened the dam and let it, I don't know. Where did the water go? Because it keeps coming. It doesn't stop just because you've emptied the lake. Okay, that's Pine Island over there. House is in that direction. Said, I don't think I'll walk onto Pine Island today. Go down that way, you can walk to the university. Done that a few times. It's very scenic. I should do it again soon. Always birds along here. Ducks and geese, duck, duck, goose. Or goose, goose, duck, depending on the day. And gulls. Ducks and gulls together. Picking up the breeze again here, because it seems to be blowing from the southeast. Or even just from the east. Clouds continue to build on the horizon. Although that's to the north of us. So anything that finds us will have to be coming from more to the west, I would think. That should blow by whatever's happening up there. Forecast called for showers sort of early to mid-afternoon. We'll see. It's hard to predict thunder showers because they build over a fairly short period of time. So the radar may not show them until they're forming not too far to the west. And then they roll over you. There are places you can go down to the water along here if you want to. Another one. One of the many parking lots. Now we're coming up to the bridge over to Pine Island. There it is. Pine Island was made when they did the deepening of the lake. It wasn't there before. And then it was planted with pines. That's the name. So I don't think it was there before. If it was, it's been developed since then. It's hard to remember what was there. It was 21 years ago. that they deepened the lake and built this bridge and all this stuff on Pine Island and maybe created the island. Maybe not. That seems like a bit much. It was built whenever they created the lake in the first place. Probably true. Oh, there's a pelican over there, the big white bird. If you look that way as you get to the bridge, it points directly at the legislative building for scenic reasons. Geese over there. Here's the pelican. Probably the biggest bird we get on the lake. Pelicans. In fact, you can spot one all the way across the lake over there, up against that far line of trees, because it's so white and lit by the sun from this direction. We'll go down by the Land Surveyors Monument, organization whose history book I wrote 20 years ago almost now. Doesn't seem like that should be 20 years ago either, but it almost is. So when I think about projects like that, which I remember as if they were yesterday, and then I realize how long ago they've been, oh, there goes the buffering again. So I think I'll upload this one today. So there'll be an unbuffered version. My right hand is getting tired of holding the gimbal, so I've switched. I suppose somebody carrying a cup of coffee could be a bingo card thing too. Thing is, I don't think I would have to. Oh, there's somebody with a bell. I like that. Always nice when you get a bell. Otherwise, I would have had no idea he was behind me. That's kind of rehab center over there. I haven't walked over there for a while either. There's a whole southern part over there with paths through the trees and some artwork and stuff. Been a while since I've gone that way too. And the caraganas are starting to bloom. Little yellow flowers for you and me. When we moved up here, I called these honeysuckles because that's what I was used to in Texas. And if you pull them off, you can get a dab of sweetness on them, just like you can with honeysuckles. But they're not honeysuckles, they're caraganas, which is not the same species, I don't believe. It's been a long time since I've been in the South to look at a real honeysuckle, but the song says honeysuckle vines are blooming, so I presume there's some sort of vine. If you can base your biology knowledge on a popular song. Well, unstable internet warning didn't last too long, so that's good. I'm also wearing a black shirt. That's another reason it feels quite warm. It's amazing how much that infrared on a dark, or especially a green top, heats you up. It's all physics. The whole world is physics, of course. Even chemistry is physics, really. Everything is physics. Biology is physics. Because everything eventually boils down to elemental particles and atoms, how they react to each other, interact with each other. Take a lot of boiling to get down to elemental particles, though, and you'd need a plasma to do it, so a lot of energy. Sometimes you can walk down there, but it's always very goose popular, and that means it's full of goose poop, and it's also very muddy and wet right now, so not a great idea. Canada Day coming up. My videos of the Canada Day fireworks are always very popular, so I'll probably try to live stream that again, unless it's raining. There had been a threat of rain on Canada Day, but last time I looked, they changed that, so hopefully they have no clue what's happening that far in advance. It's like a best guess, and it's almost always wrong, so. And unstable internet again. Shall I walk up and look at the totem pole? I haven't done that for a while, might as well. Go up this little side path here. Ooh, you can really smell those lilacs right there. That's the overlook for Pine Island that's framed by lilacs, and they're really fragrant. Unfortunately, YouTube does not offer smell-o-vision yet. So here's the totem pole that was donated to mark British Columbia's centennial. I think they donated one to every province. Then it was refurbished. It fell into disrepair, and then it was refurbished by, if it was the son or the grandson of the original artist. But here it is. From the West Coast First Nations people, guarding over the park. Yeah, that was it. 1971 is when it was originally installed, and then it was fixed up much more recently. Now, the only problem with coming this way is it's kind of muddy, so I'm actually going to go through the grass, even though it's a little wet, because I'd rather get my feet wet than muddy. It's quite muddy too, low places. And more buffering. These carrageenan hedges seem to do it. So definitely upload the non-buffering version today. Probably losing live stream viewers when it does this. Yes, I know it's unstable. Another plague of scooters over there. So if we go down here, we can look at the water spouting into the lake down here as well. Another look at Pine Island. If you look down there, again, part of the whole aeration system. Keep lots of oxygen in the lake. Better walk by the tennis club today, I think. Probably people playing tennis. That's a little ways further up. That's the Holodomor Memorial over there for the genocide by Stalin of Ukrainians. A lot of Ukrainians in Saskatchewan, and I believe our legislature was the first government body in the world to recognize the Holodomor as a genocide. It certainly recognizes that most places now, probably not in Russia, where they're busy attacking Ukraine again. Now, right up here, probably where those cars are, there's an entrance into the tennis court, which I can hear over to my left. There's actually a nice little bistro down there that I've never had anything yet, but I walk by it a lot. Through here, I think. Yeah. Here's the sign for Bliss Bistro. This way. And the tennis courts. This tennis club has been here probably as long as the legislature has been here. As long as the park has been here. A long time. Bistro is right up here on the right. So you feel like you're out in the woods. I suppose you are in a way. If you just define woods as groups of trees. There's the Bliss Bistro. And this path takes us to the legislative building. And then we'll take a walk through the gardens. And I'll pretty much be done. And I'm getting unstable internet again. So this is a very buffery. What if you took buffer and if that would have a very buffery walk today? And nothing I can do about it. I think that goes to some sort of power. That's power. Yeah, there's a power thing in there. So where you see the smokers. Yeah, I don't think the fountain's running at the moment. So the Trafalgar Fountain that we saw from the other side of the lake is right down there, but not running at the moment. And we walk right alongside the building today, just for fun. And I'll go up the steps to get a look downtown. Legislative building, built 1912, I believe, is when it was finished. Most recent renovation was they completely redid the dome. Put new copper on it. For a while we had a shiny copper dome, which was very odd to see. But of course it soon tarnished, and in our climate and atmosphere, it goes black, not green like it does in probably more humid climates. Greenish black. Or blackish green, but mostly black. This is the main entrance here. Yeah, I think the flowers are in. They're probably not in full bloom, but they're definitely in the garden. So let's pop up the stairs and take a peek from there. It's been a while since I've been in the ledge. It's usually open on, well, I think you can go in anytime if you check in at the front. Do a little walkthrough, but there's the view looking downtown from the steps of the Legislative Building. Now we'll go down. I'm getting quite dry from the wind. I always forget that I should carry water with me. Never think of it until I'm halfway through a walk on a hot, windy day, and I'm thinking, boy, I'm thirsty. This is step 2 of Queen Elizabeth, of course. She unveiled herself in 2005, and I was right there. My mother gave her flowers. Just over to the left here. It was a very rainy day that day. But that's was within handshaking distance of the Queen. Not that I shook her hand, of course. Got a great picture of her, a great picture accepting the flowers, a great picture of my daughter providing the flowers. I couldn't get far enough back to get both of them together. But it was on the front page of the Weyburn Review. The last front page picture I ever had in the Weyburn Review after working there for all those years. Yeah, the flowers are in, but not really blooming too much yet. Right, this is National Indigenous Peoples Day, I think it's called. That's probably what some of the sound from over there is something to do with activities around that. Or it's just a school group that's having their lunch in the park. Actually, that's what that looks like, nothing formal. Maybe they're touring the ledge. This is the time of the year for field trips. Probably when I first came here, when I was in school in Weyburn. It's probably about this time of year on a field trip. Didn't know at the time I would eventually be living here. And that's Sir Walter Scott, the first Premier of Saskatchewan and the one who spearheaded the building of the ledge, which is why he's holding blueprints for it in his hand in that statue. I portrayed him once for the centennial of the Hill Company's. They had me do a thing for their celebration here and in Calgary, and I pretended to be Walter Scott, who'd come forward, Mr. Wells' time machine, from the past to the future to see how all his expectations had worked out for the province. They expected it to have a lot more people, but there was an economic bust in the early 20th century and the First World War. And then there was the Great Depression, and we lost population quite substantially in the Depression because farmers couldn't make a go of it. We're now about 1.3 million, I think, in a province the size of Texas. Slightly smaller than Texas, 50,000 square miles smaller, or something like that. Basically, you can think of it as the size of Texas. So it's a fairly small per mile population. I was watching the Grand Tour with Jeremy Clarkson, those guys. And they were in Namibia, I think, and commented on how sparsely populated it was. And I realized that the per square mile population they gave was actually higher than what Saskatchewan's is. But much like Namibia, the population is all concentrated outside the desert, so the desert's empty. And here, it's all concentrated in the southern third of the province, and the northern 2/3 are not entirely empty, but pretty much so. No major population centers north of Prince Albert, and that's only about a third of the way up the province. Otherwise, it's boreal forest, logging, mining, First Nations, trapping, fishing. Used to be quite a large city, relatively, not that big, but good sized uranium city in the north. But when their mine closed down, population just collapsed a few hundred, and it was a few thousand. Never been up there. I'm sure there are still lots of empty, boarded up houses, slowly deteriorating or quickly deteriorating, I don't know. You could certainly get a house cheap up there for a while, but you're a long way from anywhere in Uranium City. I think I saw something. This is the dam that forms the lake. I think I saw something on the South Tower Twitter feed that they were aware of power problems in Uranium City. The crews would arrive. This was a few days ago, and I think they said the crews would be up there like yesterday and today. So it took days even to get a crew up there to fix the power issue. Not exactly white caps, just foam from the organic material in the water being churned up by the waves. We do get white caps, kind of. Flecks of white on a really windy day. Not quite windy enough for that today, I don't think. Okay. We'll go back up by the fence here. Say goodbye to the lake. Almost home from here. 5 minutes, maybe 10 at the most. Probably 5. Maybe 7. Split the difference. It was slippery coming down, so I want to be careful on this patch of mud up here.
Morning.
Morning. Up here through Speaker's Corner with lamps that actually did used to stand in Speaker's Corner, and or at least in Hyde Park. And back to the crosswalk for another long wait for a light. It's a city flag, the blue and yellow. It happens to be the same color as the Ukrainian flag, but that's our city flag with the crown on it. Since the city's named after Queen Victoria, whose picture is on the bridge over there too, Victoria Regina. I mean, it really just means queen, but she was the queen when it was named. It's always a long walk here. Long wait, I mean. Eventually it will change. There it goes. And we go back the way we came, more or less. Just pointing in the opposite direction. Funny how that works. Under the big spruce. I'd walk down there, but it's a dead end. I don't know if there's even a way out on foot, so I never do. There might be a way through on foot, but since I don't know for sure, I've never tried it. Could just be hemmed in by backyards and no way between any of the houses. That isn't on somebody's property. Watch out for that bush. Oh, got me. Flowers over there. There's usually flowers along here, but they don't seem to be out yet. And there's usually a lot of flowers in the end of this divider there. Neighborhood puts up a nice little garden there. But again, usually there's sunflowers, which can be more than 6 feet tall by the end of the summer, but not yet. And yes, some of the trees still have bands on them. You're not really supposed to have bands on trees right now, but some people leave them up all the time. And that's to keep the larvae for, they're called cankerworms. It's a kind of moth, I think. And tent caterpillars, also a kind of larva. The females will climb the tree trunks and lay their eggs in the branches. And when the larvae hatch, they can denude the tree, or at least leave it in tatters. So if you're doing it right, you put the bands on twice a year. We have somebody that does it for us, so I don't know if, I haven't actually looked. I think they must be gone on the front of our house. He hasn't given us a bill. I guess I should look. Maybe they're still in the front of ours, which they're not supposed to be, which might mean that he's no longer in business. Davin School dead ahead. Built the same year as our house, 1926. A couple of years we can do a centennial housewarming party, or whatever you call that. Hopefully we fixed the leak in the shower right now. Water's getting out somewhere. It seems to be from the bench, maybe. We had somebody here 2 days ago, and he sealed up a bunch of stuff, but it's still dripping when my wife takes a shower, and she likes to use the bench. So possibly, I think, my next guess is that's where it is. Almost home. Almost there. Almost there. Negative, it impacted on the surface. Bonus points if you recognize the quote. Jimmy quote, may not be exact. That yellow Mustang is always parked in front of our house, but he doesn't live here. He works down the street. Okay, I'll stop here. So thanks for walking with me. Whether you watched it live through the buffering or whether you watched the recording. And I don't know about the weekend. It's pretty busy, so maybe not. Anyway, bye for now.